All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today we're doing A Quiet Place Day 1. A woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City during the early stages of an invasion by alien creatures with ultra-sensitive hearing. This movie has an 86% critic score, a 74% audience score. I believe a newer-ish director. It's not John Kay. And this one doesn't have John Kay in it, although he did help behind the scenes. But what did you guys think of this movie? It's the third in the franchise.
The director's name is Michael Sarnowski.
Okay.
And I'm looking at some of his movies, and
He did The
there
Pig.
are
I saw Pig.
seven movies that he's credited on.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being that If movie. Is that out yet? The Ryan Reynolds one?
Yes.
Have any of us seen it?
No. I believe he's just a producer on that, though. I don't think he directed that.
Yeah, so then I think his only other movie that he's directed, newer, would be Pig. And I haven't seen that either.
I watched Pig because someone I worked with highly suggested it. It was okay. I don't know. Maybe I missed the message, but wasn't a huge fan of it. But it was okay.
Gotcha. I think we should do this review since we're kind of in it. We should try and be a little bit like the movie. So no talking for the rest of it.
We're talking for 30
whispers,
minutes.
just whispers.
Whispers and sign language.
And some yelling when lightning strikes and thunder.
Strikes. Yeah, we're gonna. You can maybe cue that in, edit
Maybe
that in.
Our editor can add some thunder noises.
Yeah,
but no. I mean, so the thing is with Quiet Place is that this is the third installment of this franchise,
but it's
the first one was insane. Like, it was a unique idea. You know, we've never seen anything really like this before, and lights out. The first one. Second one, when they announced it, we were all skeptical. Like, why are they making a second one? It should have ended with the first. They're just going to tarnish this.
It had a good resolution to that first movie.
Exactly. It was a great standalone movie, and then the second one comes out, and if not, they're neck and neck. Might be a little bit better than the first. So, I mean, that's why then this third one comes out where, you get the same ideas, same thoughts. And I personally think that the first two were better. I think this one is really good. Like, it's not something that I would skip. I wouldn't tell anyone not to watch it. But I don't think that... I mean, we get more of... I like the origin story. And like I mentioned to you guys, we still don't know where they came from. They just come from space, another planet.
That's kind of my only gripe with this movie is I liked it, so I don't want to say that it wasn't good. Mm-hmm. But it's called Day One. I feel like I would have liked a little bit more of a backstory.
Day Two.
And I think and I would have I would have liked to I would have maybe liked to have seen, I mentioned this right after we saw the movie, different areas where this was happening, because this is just centered around New York City. And it worked well, and they did a good job. But I would have liked to have seen how Day One played out in other places. Maybe even if it was just they didn't have to go to a whole nother cast of folks for 30 minutes. Show me a little news snippet of it going down in Denver or just something else. I would have liked to have seen it. The only kind of hint that we got at that was when it first happened. Then there's that interpreter kind of pinning things on the map. On where it's happening, so we get an idea that it's happening all around the globe. Mm-hmm. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Day One and I guess Day Zero before they're there. Where did they come from? Was this just a random asteroid that had them on it and it blew up in space and just happened to rain down on Earth? Is what we kind of come to assume. Mm-hmm. But I would have liked a little bit more. Day One, I guess. Day Zero.
So I understand why they started with New York because, they explain it right in the opening scene.
They do.
New York's one of the loudest cities in the world. Lets off
decibels.
A decibel that, is an ongoing scream. So, I mean, it makes sense that maybe they populated New York first because it's the loudest. I don't know. That's something that...
Well, it seems, assuming we don't know where they came from or if it's intentional where they're landing. If it's intentional, then yes, New York makes total sense. But how they're coming down from the atmosphere, it kind of makes it look like it was unintentional, like it was an asteroid. Like that wasn't planned. They just happened to hit the loudest city, and it worked out that way in the favor of those monsters, I guess.
Well, yeah, and then too, it's just like, do they hunker down where they land? Like, do they stay in that general area, or do they travel hundreds of miles? I think in the first movie, they only have like 3 or 4 like on their map that they know are in the area. Obviously, too, they're out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. So it's like, did more land there, but then they left because it's so quiet there because they're in the middle of nowhere, or and then too, like if you land in the Rocky Mountains where no one's at, it's like, do they just sit there idly, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know how that works. Clearly, they have some way of communicating with each other.
Yeah, maybe we were reading too deep into it, like
maybe.
But like, do the aliens or monsters, do they have like any motive, or is it just destroy once they're sound? Like,
yeah, the sound's annoying, they want to take it out. I don't know.
Like, is there anything else happening inside the head of that?
But then it's also crazy that, you know, they don't attack water. Because if that fountain in the middle of the city is, you know, ongoing or anything like that, like, how is that not triggered?
I know, I thought that same thing, Aiden, and I guess another assumption, they don't really give us an answer on it, is that the constant noises, they probably start to drown out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they just kind of get used to it. But if there was like a deviation of that fountain, like all of a sudden it started spraying up in the air as well of its regular fixture, then maybe they go attack it. I think maybe they can tolerate noise, but it's like the thuds or something out of the blue that gets them to react.
Piece of cotton ripping or something stupid like that.
Yeah, like when that guy's over there, the scene that you're describing, and he's, you know, that generator kicks on because the power goes off. Okay, well, that thing was loud as hell. And, you know, maybe they're running over there right then and there, and they're getting ready to rock and roll, but then he turns it off. And so they're just waiting for that next noise. What's the next noise they're going to hear? And then boom, it was the rip of the shirt that absolutely wrecked that guy.
I thought going into this movie that it was mainly like just one whole day. Clearly that wasn't the case. It was mainly just kind of the start of it, which I think worked.
It was what do you think, like 3 days total?
Yeah, 3 or 4 days, not even a week. But yeah, it's I remember one of the scenes that stick out to me the most from A Quiet Place Part 2 was the flashback scene where their family's watching the baseball game. You guys remember that? And then they see that asteroid coming in. And so I thought maybe they would elaborate more on that. It seems like a pretty similar situation for them, but obviously way worse because they're in a loud-ass city, New York City. But yeah, I was interested to see where they were going to take that. And so I thought that part of it was going to be interesting.
It does seem like the majority of them, or a lot of them at least, landed in New York City. So maybe it, like, if you're reading into it that way, maybe it was intentional, because right after they've landed, the like military government response is bomb all the bridges, which makes you think like, okay, well, you know, they landed everywhere, but maybe a lot of them are condensed in New York City and they're trying to contain it a bit.
We just need to get John Krasinski on the pod, ask him all these great questions that we have.
know, right?
We would just spam his inbox with our link to this episode.
Answers.
Well, and the thing that's different about this movie than the first movie, which I think we all really, really love the first movie, is we're watching it different with a different perspective, because now we know how these creatures work, right? We know that they're sensitive to sound, that they can't see, they don't have eyes, that they don't know how to swim, right? We've seen all these tricks like in these other 2 movies. So watching it from these characters' point of views, where it's just like, holy shit, these aliens just crashed here and they're killing everything, not understanding, I thought it was cool to see them learn how to go about, you know, moving through it. Even in the first movie, it starts with them walking on the sand, so they're quiet.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I've got a question for you guys, both of you guys. If you had never seen any of these movies, would you recommend someone watch this first now? Go this, then the first movie, then the second movie, so they could
So I'm never in timeline order. I'm always, you know, release date
order. Okay.
Because I mean that's how it's intended to watch.
I mean, not necessarily.
Because then the suspense in the first released movie isn't as, you know, suspenseful as it is watching it first.
See, but I think if I had a friend who'd never seen any of the 3 and they wanted to watch day 1, maybe like an actor in it, I don't know, I wouldn't say, no, don't watch that. Go watch the first one first. I'd be like, okay. Yeah, watch that one if you like it. I'd suggest watching those other two as well. So I don't think it's a deal breaker. I definitely think
like
you
it'd be
could watch
kinda
this without
cool.
seeing the other ones.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have someone's perspective that hasn't seen these, and you go day one, because you'd get to see the progression of the story, where they
Right.
fall to kind of the middle of this family trying
Figuring
to
out
survive
how to kill him.
to figuring out how to kill them. Yeah, you'd get to watch, but that doesn't mean that I'm not happy with how I got to see him.
Yeah. No, and I mean that's the cool thing about like this one being day one is like it's crazy how fast people catch on that like they kill noise. You know, like there's really no telecast. There's nothing like that of like, hey, be quiet. Like people are just realizing like you're looking around someone's
Well,
screens
they
and
did
then
have
they get taken out instantly.
They did have the government flying over with helicopters, and it was
Yeah.
that
Well, that
said,
was
be
like, but that
quiet.
wasn't initially.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it was like a day or two.
You're
after
talking
when
like
they were going.
you're talking like first
immediately,
hour.
like when she's
Yeah.
outside of the show and they're just raining down and she's foggy and she's walking around and someone yells out and then they instantly get taken, like stuff like that. But it's
I
also,
think that I was just gonna say real quick. I think that's the scariest thing about these like monsters or aliens is how damn fast they are. You don't
Yeah.
stand a chance. I mean, they're moving at like cheetah speed.
Yeah, dude. And that's the thing too is like what's really cool about this movie is that you get to see more of the creatures themselves, the aliens, whatever you want to call them, and they look like the thing from Temple Run. Is it not? Like, I just thought of
Kinda.
that.
A little bit.
Yeah, like
They look like Demogorgons too, a little bit.
Yeah, they look like Demogorgons. The shit from
Stranger Things.
yeah, that. But whatever. What did I just say? What was the game?
Temple Run.
Temple
You said
Run?
Temple Run. Yeah, fuck. And
Jetpack Joyride.
No. I thought that was cool though because in the first movie we don't really see them until like the very end. Second one we see a decent amount of them, but obviously CGI is getting better and better by the years. So
They did a really
they
that's
look
worth
fucking
mentioning.
scary.
Really great job with the CGI in this movie for those monsters. They were creepy every single time you saw them. There was not one where I was like, that looked cheesy. Nope, they did the detail was there. And one thing about, I mean, I said the speed was scary too, but they're damn near, and they kind of show this in the other movies, but they're damn near indestructible. And they kind of show that with like when those helicopters would fly over and they are just tearing apart the city to get to them. Like flying at 40 miles per hour up a building. Like even if you were in the way of that and you weren't even its target, you're dead, you're gone. You just got
they're
killed.
jumping off of skyscrapers, when they land in that lobby of that one building through the windows, like they're just free falling.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they're insane. But that's what's really cool about, the first one, the second one, coming into this third one, where this is day one, and this time we see, like people are realizing, obviously, like, oh, you got to be quiet. They're attracted to noise. In the very first movie that we got with the family, Emily Blunt, John Krasinski, and all the other actors, they're already born. I don't remember the timeline of that. I think it's a couple years after day one. So, but I mean, imagine being born mute. Like you just can't, like you can't talk.
Yeah.
And
You know
that's
what
how,
life was like before.
Yeah, and like the fact that they're putting the baby in the boiler, whatever that was, like I don't even know what the hell it was. I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
But
what that was.
they're putting
It's like a
oxygen
crib.
in it because if it cries, like the baby's dead. You're all dead.
Yeah.
You're all compromised.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that like they even learned to like reproduce during this.
Well, and I told you guys too after we saw the movie, I thought the budget they worked with was actually pretty impressive because the budget was estimated to be about 67 million for this movie, and it is a blockbuster, I'd argue. So I feel like nowadays with like these Marvel, Star Wars stuff, like these big scope things, yeah, they expect to make more money, but like this movie came out June 28th. We're recording this July 3rd. It's already made over 100 million worldwide. So, it's looking like it's trending well into making a good amount of money for itself. But yeah, I think 67 million because, like we said, you see the creatures a lot more in this movie than you did the other two. And for that level of budget, when you think Secret Wars was $212 million to make that show, when you look at the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's like I think what they did budget wise for this was actually pretty good for 67 million for what we're used to.
I would agree.
I mean, especially like having the setting, like New York is obviously huge. having everything look ran down, destroyed, all that kind of stuff. Like that's not, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And it's not cheap.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you have. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's crazy how quickly they show things fall apart there, like in the city. And realistically, like, I think I told you guys after the movie, I was like, those would be some of like the scariest monsters ever. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be wiped. I can't be
You
quiet.
sneeze.
You're
dead.
You do one
Fart, you're
wrong
dead.
thing, and you're gone. You're absolutely smoked. Like, how do you even
I think the only
struggle
thing,
to eat?
I mean, I guess like I don't know. I mean, this is just off the top of the head, but you would have to like be in the middle of nowhere for one. You would have to do everything in your life, anything at your disposal to make a soundproof compound, or at least a room where you can cook, clean,
be on an
yell,
island.
do whatever.
Yeah, you would have to hope that you're on like a island, like we mentioned, like one of the Hawaiian islands would be ideal where they don't hit, because they're pretty. I mean, the Hawaiian Islands, like they import stuff, but they're pretty self-sustaining. Like they could operate there without a lot of, like they'd be okay without a ton of intervention, and they would make do. But like,
Yeah, but what's also crazy is that this is the first time in this movie that we saw the aliens reproducing. We saw them laying eggs, doing all that. So how fast do they do that? How
it
often
seemed pretty
do they
quick.
do it?
That was,
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
over
a couple
like
days and there were already eggs.
Yeah, they were getting ready to grow some more of them, and that was in 3 days. So they clearly multiply quick.
So I think that there's no real like the chance of survival if this ever did happen is slim to none.
Yeah. Trying to think.
Yeah, and just to talk about the cast a little bit. Lupita Nyong'o from 12 Years Slave, Us, Black Panther. I thought she was like an incredible lead to have in this. She has a terminal illness where she doesn't have much longer to live. I think we start in the ICU, right? After they introduce the city and how loud it is.
So.
Yeah, and then I was waiting for Joseph Quinn to come in because I knew he was in it just from the posters and stuff. He's about to be in the new Fantastic Four. He's from Stranger Things, so I like him a lot. I didn't realize Alex Wolff was in it till I saw him on screen. I'm like, there's my Naked Brother band right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, so I thought the cast worked really well for it not being any characters we had seen previously in the other two movies.
Yeah, no, I think they did a great job. I especially like how it was just them three basically the entire movie, them three and the cat. Like it wasn't jumping around. There's not a lot of story to tell. Just like the other two movies, like the first one was just that family. There's a couple outsiders, neighbors, and stuff like that, but you never meet them. You never do anything like that.
That is not a world you could have a dog in, unfortunately.
No,
my dogs would both get cooked.
All would be gone.
They'd be gone in about 3 seconds. They both like to bark. So
I'm surprised that the cat made it that long. I didn't think the cat was going to
not a single meow right until
Yeah,
up
not
until
a single
the end.
meow
At all.
until right at the beginning of when she gets in her room to change to go out.
Yeah,
Right.
And then
It meows. She says, "Shut up,"
and then a second meow
Shut
right
up.
at the end.
And that thing goes underwater quite a bit too.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy.
A couple times.
Didn't know
Is this
cats
cat
could
gonna be
swim-
okay?
I didn't know
Yeah,
cats
no.
could swim like that.
But I think in all, like the story was good. It's not an easy movie to make, especially like writing it an origin story, because I'm sure that they thought a lot of people would be asking the questions that we asked. Where did they come from? Did they go there directly? Were they sent by someone? Stuff like that. But I think they found I wouldn't even call it a romance. It was more of like a friendship, like you just said. And it's like a good story of like this girl who's terminally ill and she knows that she's not going to survive, which I also thought they were going to do like some World War Z stuff where like she wasn't going to be affected because she's sick. But
Or Last of Us.
Yeah, or like something like that, but I was wrong.
Nope, they're locked into sound.
But yeah, no, I mean, we just see that, Alex Wolff's character pass away, or he dies, and, then she meets Joseph Quinn's character.
Yeah, he dies pretty early on. That's got to be.
He does, which I was surprised.
Half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And then, from there, I mean, it's basically just, she knows that she's not going to make it. She obviously is smart enough to not get taken out by the aliens. So, she's telling Joseph Quinn's character, get out, like, stay away from me. But he obviously isn't even from,
yeah,
the
so
States,
she's got this kind of I don't give a fuck mentality. And I mean,
and Eric's
because he's got
her.
no family and no one there, he's rocking with it too. He's like,
Yeah.
sure, I was here for law school. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen anymore. So
Yeah.
you want to go get a slice of pizza? I mean, I'm there for it. Where you want to go? And I think he was more afraid of being alone than she was. He was,
we get multiple scenes in this movie too where he's like having panic attacks.
Yes, which I mean, they did a good job with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we all would be. I feel like
I wouldn't really want to be.
If I'm in that situation.
Yeah, I would.
Dude, he's in the fucking hive, standing on top of a steel beam.
I couldn't believe. Yeah, that was the one dumb part where I was like, the cat will find its way back to you.
I don't
know. I know he did it for her.
I thought that was just add in like something
more
bad
suspense.
had to happen there. Like, there's no way that he got out of there alive.
I think so. He did. There was nothing really,
but
there was no noise that was actually made there. I think that scene was kind of done to show us how scary these things are. Look how they're reproducing this quick.
Yeah,
I think that's what that was made for, is to show, like, kind of to give, the viewer the idea that, my first thought is like, well, why don't you just kind of do like end of World War Z, to bring up that movie again? Have a stadium just play a ton of really loud music and just bomb the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, evacuate.
They do that in World War Z, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I think they do. They play music. It might even be exactly.
It's at the end when they're like cleaning everything up. They're burning the bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like an AC-130 just goes in and like.
Yeah. They just nuke her fucking blow to shit.
You could do that. You could do that here. Just stadium.
Yeah, but I don't even think a bomb would kill those things, if we're being honest.
Well, and they're all over. They're all over the U.S. from what we know. Yeah. Maybe North America. Maybe all over the planet.
You just have everyone evacuate most of the major stadiums and take care of business.
Well, and like, can it hear you from like a mile away? Like, what is the radius?
But that's the other thing too, is that because he's above that creature. His heart's beating fast as fuck. Like, there's no way they don't hear that. So obviously we know that they don't have like hearing or ears like a dog or something like that.
Well, I think they're probably better than a dog.
Way better.
But I don't think, like I said, I think they kind of drown out some of the little nuances. Yeah. It's the oddities that wouldn't normally be there. So, when all those people are walking, like when they're trying to evacuate, it was progressively getting louder and louder, but they're waiting to attack. They're sitting there, but it was like, all it took was like one person's little wheelchair to make it one little noise that was just out of the ordinary of a footstep that they were getting used to, that kind of boom, they're in. And then from there, all it takes is, in that case, when there was that crowd of people, well, if one person's getting attacked, it's over, because people are screaming, running, banging, crashing, like everything just starts going downhill really, really quick. And I think that's kind of what they're looking for, is like something that's different. The car horn. Oh, that's not part of the
right. That's not normal. Yeah, and I'll say this too. Another dumb scene for me that kind of bothered me. It's kind of like in horror movies when they want to walk into the room or go off on their own. It's like, don't do it. That sort of thing. The cat at the beginning, this is in like the first act, is like navigating through the glass and by the front door, and Lupita Nyong'o's character is trying to grab the cat, but there's glass everywhere, so it's loud. I'm like, just leave the cat alone. Both scenes where the cat just kind of pissing me off, where these people are putting themselves in insane risk to get this cat, and clearly the cat can defend for itself.
We say that as the viewer, though, but if it was your dog or your cat, you might be there, too.
Yeah, you would do the same thing.
If it's my dog, unfortunately, dogs are a little louder.
At that opening scene when she dives after
dogs
the cat.
Would get cooked in the first minute.
Yeah, dogs are
when she dives after the cat in that lobby scene, is the helicopter what sets the monster off?
I think they're passing by, but she runs into the lobby and steps on glass right away, and then they hear them coming, and so they both go quiet, but then the cat still goes to the door.
I mean, it hits the bell, the ornament,
right.
Whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know what saved their lives right there. It had to have been the helicopter.
Yeah, after the fact, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get the thing out of there.
Yeah. What did you
One-
guys
I mean,
think
she
of-
almost killed herself and all those people in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't know the helicopter was going to come by
No,
afterwards.
and especially if that thing goes in, everyone starts screaming. There's no way
Right.
everyone's dead silent.
That's the thing. Yeah,
No.
that's like I said
I
with
mean,
the crowd.
and then we do see at one point when they're running through the lobby of that hotel or that office where Eric throws a brick through a window. It's setting off all the alarms and stuff.
Yep.
Because I'll be like, I mean, if you're in a building and you're fucked, throw something on the other side. Everyone fucking just stay there.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
You just need the other thing to be louder than whatever you are, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. You set a bunch of fireworks off or something.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes was them running through the building and getting chased. What that was in the trailer, from what I remember. But I think my most favorite scene was them at that club where her dad, I think, used to work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And him doing the magic trick, pretending there's an audience there, just feeling like more normal again. Him
Yeah.
going to get that pizza for her. I thought that was all like really sweet, and, like kind of emotional. Like I thought it was really nice. Something I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
I'll add on that in 1 second too. I just want to say I think my favorite scene was the thunderstorm scene when they're what a creative way to let out your anger. Or we get to see it right before the thunderstorm with them trying to kick down the door, and they see the flash of lightning, and lightning, thunder follows lightning. So they kind of wait, the couple of seconds, and then boom, a kick every time, and they see it fail the first time, which was even cooler. So they got to wait again for another lightning strike, and then boom, another thunder, and then they get in and they're doing their thing. But they're able to yell when there's these loud crashes of thunder, and you get to see them really be like human, and they're both, in pain. At first it's her, and then he joined in too, and then together, I think that was my favorite scene. But I agree with you, Josh. That was also really good because I didn't expect that. And I also thought, I didn't know, I wasn't checking my watch or anything in the movie. I thought the movie might be ending in some way in that like bar. Like I kind of figured, my thought was she's going to hop on the piano. He's going to hit the drums. They're going to get that stereo going, and they're just going to fucking like rock it out and just go out. So I didn't know how much time was left in the movie. I thought they might kind of.
And when she plugged in her iPod, we were nervous that it was going to go off.
During that scene, we thought, when I saw her plug it in, I'm like, dude, like it's charging. Once it turns on, it's going to automatically play something. They're going to like, it's going to be a near-death experience. They're going to have to run out of there, try to maneuver their way out.
The iPod thing tricked me a couple of things, because I thought something like that, either it's going to charge and turn on and it's going to start playing music, or after I realized that they weren't going to hop on the drums and the piano and they were actually going to sort of make a getaway, I thought I had a little bit of hope that they were going to go together to hop on that boat and her iPod was going to start playing automatically.
Oh, okay.
I thought that she had it maybe on a timer and she didn't, we didn't get to see that. And that was going to be kind of their like, scapegoat for them to dip. But obviously we get to see, she kind of sacrifices herself a little bit, starts crashing, breaking windows and stuff so he can get away.
Which I'm surprised she lived through that.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to die there.
Yeah.
But she just lived a little bit longer.
Well, I think those chain of alarms helped her out. Because obviously it's a lot.
That's super loud, and it probably takes a second to break that in a car.
Yeah, because there's so many cars going off.
Yeah, it probably takes and maybe once you hit one, the noise.
And then two, he's running with the cat on the bridge to jump into the water to get to the boat, and he's getting chased down. I thought she was going to try to scream again or something. Maybe that wouldn't have worked, just to kind of lure some of them back again. But so I was waiting for that too. Didn't happen.
Yeah, no, and I really didn't think that she was going to sacrifice herself for
me neither,
Eric.
Unless they were going together, I didn't think.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely could have. There's no reason for them all not to survive. Like, obviously, she was, maybe she was suffering because she only got, but then she did get her medicine. She got those patches that she needed.
I don't think though. If you're in the ICU, you probably don't have that long. Unfortunately.
I think.
Well, yeah, they never explained like, oh, you have like 1 month to live, and then
I didn't think that
a week, and then
once we were introduced to her character, I didn't think we were gonna make it to the end with her.
She was in a they do without mentioning it. She was in a there was a sign that said like hospice end of life.
Yeah.
So
and it was sad because it's her and a bunch of older people.
I think the patches that she had were probably truly just like a suppressant, but she was gonna die no matter what. Like, I think she was at a stage where there was no more, whatever illness she had, whatever, if it was like a cancer or something, unfortunately there was no more treatment. It was just like a ride it out. These patches will help with the pain, and you're gonna.
And I'm sure she'd rather ride out than get fucking brutally murdered by an alien creature from outer space.
Yeah, so I knew like during the whole movie that like her mission to go get pizza just as her final meal, like that sort of thing. So that's how I was taking it. So yeah, and I thought her giving him the jacket and then him getting like to read that note on the boat was really sweet as well. You know, and that kid seeing the cat again. I don't know. I just thought that whole part was just super interesting to me too. I really enjoyed that. And then yeah, her walking at the end, just unplugging her iPod, playing on the speaker. I thought that was just a badass way to go out. But I mean,
that
that's
was a
just
great ending.
She was in pain.
That movie.
Yeah.
That was, and we didn't.
It was really good.
We didn't have to watch. I was glad too that we didn't have to watch her get like wrecked.
Yeah,
I guess you could say.
Just land behind her. That's it.
Yep, black screen right as it lands behind her. We know how it's gonna go, but we don't actually have to see, you know, a brutal end. But you know that she's not making it out, unless maybe she's also invincible and didn't show us that right at the end.
She has superpowers.
She has superpowers.
She flies
laser eyes.
I was gonna say, yeah, she Homelander laser eyes it.
But no, I also think like I want to mention that like that pizza place that she wanted to go to was Patsy's, and like that's an actual place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's rare that we get movies with, you know, actual places and stuff like that.
Did you guys see the I don't know if it was a sponsor, but the Twice Time Reebok placement of the shoes?
Oh, for the shoes? Yeah.
Yeah, they did it.
Them to them?
Twice they did it where they like show the logo and they
you can run faster, they're quiet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was they were both in those I actually have a pair of those Reeboks, which is funny. But funny. I was like, interesting product placement because they did it twice where they showed that off.
Yeah, I mean, it's good product placement there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the ending? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
Yeah,
I feel like some people in the theater we walked out with, I'll talk about it in a minute, seem not too happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is where I compare it to the first two movies is like those kind of have more action to them. Like this is kind of, you know, it's an origin story, and it's, you know, survival of the fittest. Like there's no main plot here, but
there's not.
You know,
we're also
he's going to safety. It's a friendship story. You know, while the world's ending, and you know, it's just they wrote a good story to tell and put on screen, and I think it just worked.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's nothing I would say like, oh, they should change it. Like, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's kind of, you can compare it to the Titanic. Like, Jack could have, he had room on the door. She had room on the ship. She could have easily went and made it. So
absolutely.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we were walking out and we had these like two girls in front of us who were probably teenagers, but they're walking out and they're like, I don't understand why she killed herself at the end. I'm just thinking, like, she's alone. She got her pizza.
Maybe they missed the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I'm like, she's very ill. She's probably in a lot of pain. I thought that made sense to me.
Yeah, no, it'd be instant. That's the only good thing. I mean, those things are moving at you at, like, the speed of a car.
Right.
And they pierce straight through you, so.
Yeah, because if they would have just showed him get on the boat, read the note, and then it ends there, it's like, it would have bothered me more because it would have been like, well, what is she going to do now?
What
How
is
long
she,
does she live for? You know?
Perfect closure. We get to see him get away with the cat. We get to hear the note. I'm glad you mentioned that to kind of close it off and, you know, take care of my cat and what, you know, he doesn't like his belly rubbed. and we get to see her kind of go out. So I think perfect wrap up of a movie. I wouldn't change anything with the ending, but that's pretty much everything I've got.
Are you guys hoping we get a part 3 where it goes back to the family that we followed the first two movies? Do you think that'll happen?
I think the story with that family's over with.
Yeah, okay. I think we're good there.
I think if anything,
do you think we get more of these where it's just one-offs?
I don't know.
Maybe
mean,
they
there
could probably do a
be,
TV
but-
show too. Honestly,
Yeah, but
That'd be cool.
then that's where shit gets, it
Busy.
gets bad.
Yeah.
It gets too much. Like, I'm okay with these 3 movies. They didn't even need to make this one. I think if anything, they make one in the future or they make one in another setting there. But then again, it's copy and paste. So, I mean, we see that they do have a video game coming out. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for that.
Yep.
maybe we could see like maybe from like the government side, like how they responded could maybe
White
be
House?
interesting. Yeah, how did the White House respond to those?
That's
Yeah.
true, but I mean, it's all like they said, hey, good luck. You're on
They
your
did,
own.
yeah. In the first movie, they dropped letters
I mean,
that said
maybe we
they
could
just
see,
briefly
like-
show that it's like a letter that
Yeah.
says like Department of Homeland Security, and it's like you are on your own. The federal government cannot assist you.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
brutal.
we could see another like a sequel to this one with like Eric's character and like where they went and how they're gonna go, because obviously the government's telling them to go to like a sanctuary.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where they end off at, or they can.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I've seen all 3 of these movies now. I've enjoyed all of them. I don't think there's a bad movie out of any of them. I'm kind of shocked by the scoring from audiences. They only give it a 74%. We're going to give our scores here in a minute, but I thought that was kind of a little bit low than what I was expecting, because the other 2 are higher. Now, it is only 1,000+ reviews so far. Obviously, the movie just came out, but I figured it'd be a little bit higher. So I don't know if people didn't like the characters we were following or anything like that, but I think what Aiden said, it's not really a romance. They just had a really good friendship, 2 complete strangers that meet in this situation, and they're both able to help each other, which I thought was really sweet. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I wouldn't hate another one. I've enjoyed them all so far, so I don't know, but maybe you got to know a good time to stop. Clearly, they're still making money though off them, so people are still enjoying it. Paying to
Well,
go
I mean,
see
it's
it,
a
I guess.
great idea.
And we did see this in IMAX, where it's really, really loud. It's a pretty quiet movie, given the name, but out of nowhere, it just get fucking loud. We have to talk about one more thing real quick: the nightmare scene where she wakes up and things are normal, and then the fucking jump scare. I think that's only the one time. Maybe there's 2 jump scares, but usually these movies don't do the jump scares like that. I felt like in the
That
past.
got
Definitely
me-
2. There was that one, and then there's the one where, or is it the same one, where the alien starts running at the camera?
That might be the same one.
That might be
I'm
the
not
same
too
one.
sure.
The 2
That one got me though. I jumped out of my seat.
The 2 that got me was that one, and when she's they get into like the subway, and it just fucking drops onto the escalator, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
That got me too. Like I knew it was coming, but it still got me. I kind of jumped up a little bit.
Yeah. All right, you guys want to give scores?
Let's roll.
I can go first.
Yeah, go first.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie a lot more than what the audiences are giving out on Rotten Tomatoes. For pretty much everything I said, I think it's like the perfect length. I think what they did with the budget was impressive. I thought the CGI looked great. I thought the acting was incredible. I really cared for these characters who we had just met, which might be hard to do in a franchise. I feel like it has been in the past.
Yeah.
So I went in with high expectations, and for me, they were met. I would put this up there with one of the better movies I've seen this year. So I'm going to go with a 90. I really, really enjoyed it a lot for me personally. Now, I walked out of it and I was like, I think this might be the best one. I'm not too sure because I've only seen all of them once. So I have some recency bias. So I want to go back and watch the first 2 again to really give my opinion, because it has been a while. I know I really enjoyed the first one a lot. Cillian Murphy's in the second one. So I want to go back, rewatch them. But yeah, I really just enjoyed this movie a lot. It was sad at certain points. I thought it was badass with the action. And yeah, I just think it was a really good movie. So I'm going to give it a 90.
I'll follow up that and let Aiden go last. And I agree with everything you had to say, Josh. I don't really have much to add. We kind of touched on everything that I've got for the movie. Overall, good thriller, scary movie. I don't have many gripes. I'm actually going with the same score. I'm going with a 90. And I think I would maybe go, if I was like rating them all 3, I would probably go 1, 2, 3, how they came out, like the first one and the second one and the third one. But like, if they were being scored, it'd be like 90, 89, 88 or something like that. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to give them score on the other 2, but all very close, all really good. I would like to, like, if I was gonna own these, I'd probably want like the trilogy pack, so I could have all three. I think you'd need all three. Otherwise, definitely worth at least seeing this movie once. I think it's worth checking out at least once.
Yeah.
What do you got, Aiden?
Definitely. Yeah, I'll finish this off. I mean, like you guys said, I can't really add much to it, but the same thing that you said, Andrew, where I would rate them 1, 2, 3, same way. But it's not as I'm saying, like, even with the score I'm about to give, like, this is not a bad movie. No. I just think compared to, like, me personally, I think it's unneeded. I wish it would have had a little more explanation. Still a great watch. It was entertaining. I thought the cast was great. Setting was great. Creatures, CGI, cinematography, all of that was good. But I mean, I don't know. 90's kind of high for me, especially like just watching it. I feel confident going like 86, which is still a good score.
Still a great score.
Yeah. And
we're pretty generous with our scores.
Definitely. But I mean, there's nothing I can really hate about it. It's a fun watch. Like you said, it's scary. It's a thriller. You know, it's not as much suspenseful as the other two, especially that first one. You know, not knowing anything about this like world and you know these creatures, what they do and stuff like that. It definitely still has scary parts, but I don't know. I mean, I think you got to give it to John Krasinski for you know.
Sort of
having this original idea, you know, and we get 3 movies out of it, a video game, and then whatever's to come after this. So I mean,
maybe some books.
It's entertaining. Maybe. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some world building that they could do, and I don't know. I'm excited.
I've got
for what's to come.
one question for you, Aiden, because me and Josh made a clip. Buy Stream Pass on this one. What are you doing with it? Me and Josh already made
streaming it, but I would buy it if it's in a 3-pack.
That's
so
funny.
All 3 packs,
that's exactly what I said.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me the trilogy and I'll buy it. But
that's exactly what I said.
This is definitely a stream it movie. Which is the other thing too, is I don't think any of the other 2 movies are on any streaming services.
I don't think they are either.
But for some reason I want to say no.
I know they announced they're doing a digital release for this movie July 30th.
Is that what I was gonna say that?
Okay. Yeah,
like so it's going to
giving it a month.
Very quick.
Yeah. So which we had a friend that wanted to come with us, and he's like, well, I guess I'll just have to wait till it comes out digitally. And I'm like, well, it's performing pretty well, so it might be like a couple months. And then I saw that, and I was like, oh, okay, he only has to wait a month. So,
dude, and that's the thing, too, is like I could literally have like home theater in my house. Obviously not movie theater style, sound quality, picture, all that. But like, I don't know. Us 3 and our buddies, you know, we enjoy going to the theater. I enjoy eating fake butter and fucking downing popcorn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like watching new releases at in my house.
I agree with that take.
Yeah, especially a movie. We were looking forward to this one. So,
real quick, this is going to be on Disney Plus.
Okay.
July 8th.
I wonder if that's through Hulu.
It's probably through Hulu. I just saw a funny thing about that. It said because Hulu and Disney Plus are kind of merging. But someone it was like a screenshot of their Disney Plus, because Hulu's on there now, and it had the Saw movies.
That's funny.
Not very fitting for Disney Plus.
For Disney Plus. Well, speaking of that, we do have 2 episodes dropping next week. We're doing The Bear Season 3, which I think we're planning on releasing on Tuesday or Wednesday, but it will be earlier in the week. Great season so far. We have not finished it yet, but we're excited to finish it and review that. And then we're doing Maxine, which me and Brian are super excited to go see that. Based off Axe and Pearl,
and I
which
will
we reviewed.
Probably go see that.
I'm gonna have to go watch the first 2 before that one comes out.
Yeah, Axe and Pearl were great.
Is it a horror movie?
They're horror movies, all 3 of them. They're not that scary though, honestly.
I was gonna say like
they're gruesome though.
They're gruesome, yeah. They're full blown slasher, but they're good. They're really good, and the performances are great. So we're excited to see it.
I mean, as long as shit's not popping out to me.
Yeah.
No.
So Maxine will be Friday. But yeah, that's what we got planned. We did drop some exclusive stuff on YouTube, so go check out our YouTube. We did like a House of the Dragons review this week for the new episode, and
we're gonna
drop some boys stuff.
We're gonna have some more stuff hitting the YouTube that we're gonna always keep doing our Friday long kind of chit chats like this, but we're gonna start doing a couple of things that are a little bit shorter on YouTube when we got time. We can crank it out so people can listen and tell us they love us or they hate us. We'll take whatever you got.
Yep. So thank you guys for listening. See you guys next time.
Yeah, thank you. See you next week.